What's up, Raider Nation? Buckle up because the silver and black universe just got shaken to its core. And what I'm about to tell you will have you questioning everything you thought you knew about loyalty, legacy, and what it truly means to bleed black and silver. Before we dive into this emotional roller coaster, smash that like button if you're ready for some real talk about our beloved Raiders, and don't forget to subscribe because we're about to uncover truths that will leave you speechless. You know that feeling when your ex calls you out of nowhere. Well, imagine that, but multiply it by 1,000 and add the weight of an entire franchise's history. That's exactly what happened when a certain veteran quarterback decided to break his silence about the organization that shaped him, molded him, and ultimately let him walk away. This isn't just any quarterback we're talking about. This is someone who knows the Raiders inside and out, someone who bled for this team, and someone whose words carry more weight than almost anyone else in the football world. The timing couldn't be more perfect or more devastating, depending on how you look at it. Here we are, in the middle of what feels like a complete franchise transformation, with new faces, new hopes, and new dreams, and suddenly the ghost of seasons past decides to speak up. The anticipation is killing me, and I know it's killing you too, because what this player revealed about Pete Carroll and the current direction of our team will either fill you with hope or leave you questioning everything we thought we knew about the Raiders' future. Derek Carr, the man who holds virtually every passing record in Raiders history, just dropped some knowledge that has the entire Raider Nation buzzing. The former quarterback who spent 9 seasons in silver and black, who threw for over 35,000 yards and 200 touchdowns as a Raider, couldn't help but share his thoughts on what's happening with his former team. And let me tell you, his words are hitting different right now. I love Pete Carroll. I've always loved him, always admired him from afar. His guys play super aggressive, super fast on defense, Carr revealed, and you can almost hear the respect dripping from every word. This isn't just casual commentary. This is a former franchise player giving his seal of approval to the new regime. But here's where it gets interesting, and where every Raiders fan needs to pay attention. Carr isn't just praising Carroll's defensive philosophy, he's acknowledging something deeper about what this coaching change means for the franchise. The emotion in his voice becomes even more apparent when he talks about the offensive direction. On offense, you know they're going to run the football, obviously with their draft pick. Even though he's a Boise State Bronco, I'll look past that he's a Raider now, so we're family. That word family, that's not just lip service. That's a former Raider acknowledging that once you're part of this organization, you're connected for life, regardless of how things ended. But here's what's really eating at me, and what should be eating at every single member of Raider Nation. Carr's perspective on this team comes from someone who lived through the struggles, who experienced the heartbreak, who knows what it feels like to carry the weight of an entire fan base's expectations. His endorsement of Carroll isn't just about football strategy, it's about hope. It's about believing that maybe, just maybe, this time things will be different. The fact that Pete Carroll himself is talking about building around the quarterback position with Tom Brady's guidance should have every Raiders fan feeling a certain type of way. Carroll's words about making it as easy as possible for the quarterback position ring so differently when you think about what Carr went through during his time here. The constant coaching changes, the offensive line struggles, the lack of consistent weapons, all of that is in the past now, but Carr's perspective gives us insight into what this new era could really mean. What's driving me absolutely crazy is thinking about the what ifs. What if Carr had Carroll as his coach? What if he had Brady as a mentor? What if the organization had committed to building around him the way they're apparently committed to building around the current quarterback situation? These aren't just hypothetical questions. They're reminders of opportunities lost and lessons learned. But here's the thing that's really got me fired up. Carr's comments suggest that he sees something special in what's happening with the Raiders right now. This isn't bitter commentary from a former player. This is genuine excitement about the direction of a franchise he still loves. And if someone who lived through the chaos of the previous regime can see the potential in what Carroll and Brady are building, then maybe we're onto something truly special. The emotional weight of hearing from Carr right now, as we're all trying to process this massive organizational shift, is almost overwhelming. Here's a player who gave everything to this franchise, who wanted nothing more than to bring a championship to Las Vegas, offering his perspective on what could be the most important coaching hire in recent Raiders history. His words aren't just analysis, they're a blessing, a passing of the torch, a former franchise player saying, "This is the way forward." And as we prepare for what could be the most important season in recent memory, with a completely new coaching staff and a renewed sense of purpose, Carr's voice serves as both a reminder of where we've been and a beacon of hope for where we're going. Comment below and let me know what you think about these revelations, because this is just the beginning of a story that's about to get even more intense. Raider Nation, what I'm about to tell you is going to hit you right in the feels, and it's going to make you realize just how deep the loyalty runs in this organization. We're talking about a story that goes beyond contracts, beyond money, beyond everything you think you know about professional sports. This is about a man who's been holding down the most important position on the offensive line for 7 years, and his future with the silver and black is hanging in the balance in ways that will make your heart race. You know that feeling when you find out your favorite player might not be back next season. Well, multiply that by 1,000, because we're not just talking about any player. We're talking about someone who has been the silent guardian of every quarterback who stepped foot in a Raiders uniform since 2018. This isn't just about football, this is about family, this is about legacy, and this is about a decision that could define the next chapter of Raiders football. The offseason has been absolutely wild for our beloved Raiders. We got Geno Smith under center now, a quarterback who's proven he can ball when given the right protection and the right system. We've got Pete Carroll bringing his championship pedigree to Las Vegas, and let me tell you, the energy around this coaching change is electric. The man who built a dynasty in Seattle is now tasked with building something special in the desert, and every single move he makes is being watched by millions of Raiders fans worldwide. But here's where it gets really interesting, and where every Raiders fan needs to pay attention. Carroll and this new regime made a statement in the draft that sent shockwaves through the entire NFL. They selected Ashton Jeanty, the Boise State running back who absolutely terrorized college defenses, with the 6th overall pick. This isn't just any running back. This is a game changer, a player who can single-handedly transform an offense and take pressure off the quarterback position. The commitment to running the football is clear. The vision is obvious. But here's what's keeping me up at night. None of this matters if we don't have the right protection up front. And that's where our story takes a turn that will either fill you with hope or leave you worried about the future of this franchise. Colton Miller, the 29-year-old cornerstone of our offensive line, the man who's been protecting Raiders quarterbacks since being drafted 15th overall in 2018, is in the final year of his contract. Let that sink in for a moment. The player who has missed only 7 games in 7 years, who has been the most consistent performer on our offensive line through coaching changes, quarterback changes, and organizational chaos, might not be back next season. But here's what's really got me emotional. Miller's own words about his future with the team. "I want to be a Raider for life," he said during mandatory minicamp. "I love it here. I don't want to go anywhere else. I only know one way to do it, and that's showing up and getting better each day." These aren't just words from a player trying to get a contract. These are the words of a man who truly understands what it means to be a Raider. The timing of this whole situation is absolutely crucial. We're in the middle of what feels like a complete organizational transformation, with new leadership, new philosophy, and new expectations. The last thing we need is to lose a player who represents everything good about consistency and reliability. Miller held out during the voluntary portion of the offseason program, and while that might sound concerning, it's actually a sign of a player who knows his worth and understands the business side of football. What's driving me absolutely crazy is thinking about the market for left tackles right now. Players like Tristan Wirfs are getting 5-year, $140, $6 million deals. And Miller's current 12 Duran $255 million salary would only rank 11th among left tackles. This is a player who has been underpaid for years, who has consistently performed at a high level, and who deserves to be compensated accordingly. The Raiders are in a unique position here. They have a player who genuinely wants to stay, who has proven his loyalty through 7 years of consistent play, and who fits perfectly into Carroll's system. The projected contract of 3 years, $60,000. $3 million with $40 million in guarantees isn't just about money. It's about making a statement that the Raiders value loyalty, consistency, and players who embody the spirit of the organization. But here's what's really eating at me. Miller's 2024 season wasn't his best coming off shoulder surgery. This creates a fascinating dynamic where the Raiders have to decide whether to extend him now based on his body of work or wait another year to see if he bounces back. It's a decision that could define the success of this new regime, because protecting Geno Smith and creating running lanes for Ashton Jeanty starts with having elite tackle play. The emotional weight of this decision goes beyond just football. Miller represents everything we want in a Raider: toughness, reliability, and genuine love for the organization. His journey from a relatively unknown tackle out of UCLA to the cornerstone of our offensive line is exactly the kind of story that makes you fall in love with this game. And the thought of him wearing another uniform is almost too painful to consider. As we head into training camp, this contract situation is going to be one of the most important storylines to watch. Because if the Raiders can lock up Miller long term, it sends a message to the entire locker room that loyalty is valued, that consistency is rewarded, and that this organization is serious about building something special for the long haul.